Well, what about him? They asked. I was raised on the streets, looking after myself. Things sure weren't easy back then. Nobody cared for me. While all the other kids were out playing, I was chewing tobacco and cage-fighting Italians. At only 19, I fell into the clutches of a tomato addiction, only to let it go when skin discoloration hit me like a gut punch. I'm still evacuating seeds to this day. Then, the call came. The Alliance needed someone that gets things done, someone willing to get their hands dirty. I was that man. And as I climbed the ranks, I gained a reputation, though I never cared for gossip. Yet, in all that time, I never thought I'd see myself again as the underdog. I never expected things to go this way. Nevertheless, whatever kind of strange alien the universe threw at me, I was ready to give them a resounding slap. My name is Shepard, LaQuando Shepard, and this is my story. My first mission as a lieutenant commander was to lead a ground squad on Eden Prime, a human colony on the fringes of our empire. The task was simple: retrieve an ancient beacon. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the person was Irish or something and they meant bacon, but I didn't want to sound ignorant, so I just nodded. Anyway, we weren't briefed on what that thing was, but our orders were clear. Look, but don't touch. Examine, but don't interact.
Everything cuts out after that. No comm traffic at all. Engaging stealth systems.
Upon reaching the colony, I was assigned 2 generic troopers. I don't remember their names, so I'll call them Soldier 32 and 43. And since we didn't know the beacon's exact location, a little recon was in order.
Ship perimeter secure, Commander.
As we did, I saw several weird floating herbivores looking a bit suspicious, so I put them down quick. I wasn't there to respect the local fauna. But the real action was just around the corner as a different type of hovering entity loomed in the distance. I didn't know if these units were hostile, so I sent Soldier 32 to confirm. Immediately got my answer. With time slipping through our fingers, we had no choice but to leave 32 behind. The other one said he was screaming for help or something, I don't know, time was short. Luckily, a replacement for 30-something would come running straight at us. A nice-looking gal named Ashley Williams. She was one of the only survivors. Sadly, her escape would be forever tainted by the sight of a man and an alien having a romantic time. The untold traumas of war, I guess. But it didn't matter. The mission came first.
Gunnery Chief Ashley Williams of the 212. You the one in charge here, sir?
Give me a status report, Williams.
Oh, man.
Good lord. It reminded me of when I saw Uncle Giocondo pleasuring himself with the kitchen thongs. But this gal showed signs of a strong warrior, a tough one. She wasted no time and told me where the beacon was. It was actually closer than we thought.
Move out.
Without delay, we moved forward, dealing with any resistance and coming across 2 scientists hidden inside an office.
Humans. Thank the Maker.
Look, the woman seemed fine, I guess, but that guy had the most punchable voice I've ever heard.
No one is saved. The age of humanity is ending.
Oh my God!
That might have been a little extreme, Commander.
Shut up or you'll be next.
You can't just go around whacking people in the head.
You better wish me good luck or I'll smack you too.
Good luck, Commander.
What is that?
Off in the distance.
It's a ship. Look at the size of it.
That was not normal. No empire has ships that look like giant shrimps. And after a few minutes of walking, we found it. The beacon. It was shyly resting by a dock, emanating a calming hum from within. The thing even looked mundane from afar. Then I radioed the captain to request its extraction. But an unsettling feeling overcame me. Intrusive thoughts began to take hold, whispering in the recesses of my mind. What if I touched it? Could it bring any harm? Or would it give me the powers of a god? For a moment, the thing spoke to me. It told me to clasp its gift. As Ashley neared to see it up close, I grew envious. I thought she was going to touch it and steal my newfound powers. I couldn't let that happen, so I tackled her out of the way. It was my beacon. What happened, you might ask? Well, I'll be damn lying if I said it didn't give me a good sap. That darn thing sent every muscle in my body into a frenzy. My left cheek practically decided to relocate itself inside my rectum. I felt like I was chewing 5 gum, like I'd downed 5 Red Bulls with my coffee. Like a lumberjack had slapped me with a salmon. Then the thing exploded and sent me flying half a football field back. That's the last thing I remember. On that day, LaQuando changed forever. Some say for the worse. But if you ask me, I only wish it had happened sooner.
Doctor Chakwas, I think he's waking up.
I woke up the next day battered and drained. When my crew asked me how I felt and what had happened, I told them it just electrocuted me. In reality, it was much more than a Slovakian massage. It was an epiphany, a small split in the walls of time. This vision, it was as murky as a Peruvian river. But I managed to spot a pattern. Machines against organics. A war of galactic proportions unfolding in our backyard. Consuming everything and everyone. And I just sat there, watching us lose it. But you know what? I wasn't going to let that happen. So I took it upon myself to recruit the baddest motherfuckers this galaxy's got to help me stop whatever the vision warned me about. Garrus, Turian ex-law officer. Not the strongest of the bunch, but he was witty, had connections, and knew how to grease the palms of those bureaucratic suits in case they got in my way. Wrex, Krogan mercenary, as subtle to the eyes as pepper spray. Slow and dumb, yes, but that ugly sumbitch could punch a hole through a ship hull. Good front line. Liara, a centenarian Asari archaeologist. Nerdy and manipulable, my kind of girl. When it comes to Prothean tech, she's the top dog, the only one capable of helping me understand the beacon's vision. And last but not least, Tali, Quarian troublemaker. Very fine girl from the knees up, but behind the mask lied a tech-savvy fugitive with a knack for cracking into anything with a circuit board. And with Ashley in the mix, I had assembled one hell of a team. They might go AWOL at any given time, or maybe even pull a shiv on me while I'm brushing my teeth. But if I was gonna pull this off, I had to roll the dice. With my team complete, all I needed to do was follow the clues. But I had no clues. I felt like a detective without a crime, like a barber at the gynecologist's office. So I turned to Liara. The Asari have the ability to connect to someone's mind, to pluck thoughts from the chaos. Maybe if she poked my brain, she'd be able to make out a place, a person, a moment, anything.
Relax, Commander. Embrace eternity. That was incredible.
Man, she went deep. It's like she dug up my Mr. Bean fanfiction and all the other stuff, no holds barred. But it wasn't just the adult content she found. Liara managed to make out a place, a frozen planet called Noveria, and a person, Venezia, supposedly related to my mission. I had no idea who that woman was, or why they misspelled her name. But it was my only lead.
Landing access granted, Normandy. Be advised, we will be confirming identification on arrival. If confirmation cannot be established, your vessel will be impounded.
So, we landed in Noveria, but the locals weren't too happy to see us for some reason. Man, security was closer than my shadow. I tell you, at some point I feared that if I turned any faster, I might accidentally kiss one of them. We then went to a friend of Garrus who told us Venezia was staying at the local hotel. Turns out she was an Asari matriarch, some spiritual big shot among her people. And word had it, she was present to oversee an experiment at the research lab. But as expected, that lab was locked down tighter than a vault. They weren't just going to let us stroll in. But it was okay. You don't need permission when you have the best Quarian cracker in the galaxy. Tali proposed we hacked into their control computers to unlock the doors. My plan of shooting everyone would have also worked, but, you know, being subtle occasionally does pay off. So, with nothing impeding our progress, we pressed on. But something wasn't right. The path to the labs was crawling with Geth troopers, and those massive creepy crawlies they call Rachni. Those bastards sure put up a good fight. Once we finally breached the labs, we thought we could work our hacking voodoo again, but those guys were no slouches. They had top-notch OPSEC measures, including anti-hacking protocols that triggered security turrets and a whole dang alarm. From that moment on, it was shoot on sight for every soul in that place. It got messy real quick. After my team and I executed precision maneuvers, we reached the final chamber. There, we found Venezia herself. Look, I knew she was a matriarch, but damn. I never imagined how much more of a ma she would be than a triarch. She was very wary of us at first, which is understandable. I mean, we had literally left a trail of cold bodies behind us. Anyhow, it turns out Venezia was running experiments on the insects to prevent them from becoming extinct. She even had a Rachni queen, the last of its kind, in a tube right there for breeding purposes. Then she went on about how the Rachni were sentient beings and other nonsense. But honestly, I wasn't there for a sensible debate on the rights of a misunderstood species. I wanted answers. What was this war I saw? Who started it? And why? Then after gaining her trust, I threatened her.
You won't look so smug with a hole in your head.
And she decided to spill the beans. She was in the employ of a Turian ex-soldier named Saren. They were cooking up a plan to revive an ancient race of machines called the Reapers. They were a myth, an unstoppable force that would cleanse the galaxy of life every 50,000 years, only to retreat to the darkest corners of the cosmos and patiently wait for intelligent life to develop again, just to repeat the cycle. It was like that movie that came out 160 years ago. But these guys didn't stop at a measly 50% annihilation. They went all in. But the question was, why would they want to awaken these Reapers? She never said. The fact that I shot her before asking her that question didn't help either, to be honest. But it didn't matter. We already knew our next step.
They always said there would be a...
That has to be the fakest death I've ever seen. Shoot her again. Good job, girls. Tag her and bag her. With Venezia out of the picture, Tali pulled up Saren's possible location from the matriarch's computer. It showed a planet called Vermeer, a tropical paradise overrun by pirates and tainted by slavery, supposedly being Saren's operations hub. About the Rachni, my companions asked if we could let the giant grasshoppers live. They were intelligent, after all. But I couldn't help but retell a quintessentially human saying. If it ain't pretty, it's fair game for elimination. But on the way to Vermeer, those slimy council politicians chimed in. They wanted an explanation for our little rampage. But honestly, I wasn't in the mood to give them one.
Commander, do not cut me off like last time. I failed to find it amusing.
Whoops.
And we're out.
Once on land, things would take a divisive turn. We learned Saren was a Spectre, a military leader with outstanding power and clearance. He claimed to have a cure for a gnarly genetic disease that had been plaguing the Krogan race for ages, and he was handing it out like candy on Halloween. Now that just sounded shady as hell, like he was building an army or something. I couldn't allow that to happen, so I ordered to nuke the place to smithereens. Indiscriminate cataclysm was the only choice. Unfortunately, they said the remote control for the nuke didn't have any batteries, something about double A's being discontinued 50 years ago. I had no idea what he was talking about. The only double letter I knew was the double D's. But it definitely wasn't that. I don't know, probably some old people's slang. The real problem was that someone had to stay behind and manually set off the nuke. And right there, they asked me to surrender one of my own. One of my beloved companions must sacrifice themselves for the greater good. How could you abandon one of your own? It was a gut-wrenching choice, no doubt about it. We'd been through so much together. How do you choose between your children? 43. Soldier 43 would stay behind.
This isn't right, Shepard.
With that hard choice behind me, it was time to focus on the bomb. But our Krogan resident, Wrex, wasn't so happy about nuking the planet and denying his people the cure. He said he wanted his people to have a second chance at life, that they were sensible creatures and deserving of peace.
Commander, are you...
I'm feeling a hell of a lot better than he is.
Yeah.
With the traitor no longer compromising our mission, it was time to plant that bomb. The ideal location would be at the center of the complex. But as we crossed the base, something unexpected made us veer off.
No! No!
In the heart of the lab, I realized just how close Saren was to completing his mission.
You are not Saren.
An ancient computer laid in the basement. It was conscious, alive, and it addressed us, speaking of the incoming destruction like it was inevitable. When I asked it what it was or how it knew this, everything made sense. This hologram I was talking to, it was the mind of a Reaper. And that shrimp-looking ship we'd seen back on Eden Prime, they called it Sovereign. And it wasn't just a ship. It was a Reaper. Saren had not only contacted them, but his sinister plans were already in full swing. I have no idea how, and I kind of forgot to ask the reason behind it, but it was confirmation that those creatures, those machines, they existed, they were real, and they really had something personal against everyone in the galaxy. That alien was the most irrationally hateful thing I'd seen since the elections.
Commander, we got trouble.
Lay it on me, Joker. I love bad news.
That ship's Sovereign? It's coming your way and it's coming hard. You need to wrap things up in there fast.
Time just got a whole lot shorter. So, while 43 armed that bomb on the other end, the rest of us had to hold off the incoming attackers, making sure the site stayed protected. It wasn't an easy fight, I tell you. They were in the dozens. Laser-shooting jumping freaks, Geth troopers, Krogan berserkers. It was a real knockdown, drag-out brawl. But after a whole lot of blood, or oil, we finally got that bomb armed and ready to blow. We were all set to hightail it out of there. But just as we were making our exit, we got a distressing message from 43. New number, who's this?
Commander, I'm under heavy fire. Where's my extraction?
Oh, I don't want more warranty. Bye. I guess I forgot to tell him. Didn't matter. Our focus was on leaving that place in one piece. But Saren had other plans. The Turian came out of nowhere, riding a hoverboard like he was auditioning for a Spider-Man movie or something, and started shooting away, landing one on Ashley. Luckily for me, he was either very stupid or very drugged. He stood out in the open, delivering his bad guy monologue instead of double tapping her. Anyhow, I tried my luck with a couple of cheap shots, but the dude was shielded to the teeth. I just decided to wait until he was finished.
I can't let you disrupt what I've accomplished here.
Then we started blasting. For a second, I thought I had him. The guy was weaker than I thought. That was until he pulled out an overpowered explosion that knocked me down. I had no idea what the hell was that, but he compensated for the BS with more stupidity. I struggled for a second, but then I got a good right hook. But then, for some reason, he ran away. Man, I was so confused. A nuke was fine, but punching was going too far? Fearing 43 might get angry and set off the nuke before time, I carried Ashley to the extraction point and boarded the Normandy. We had a few tense moments, I admit, and our escape was a bit turbulent, but we still managed to get a clean getaway. With the labs and everything else in a 100-mile radius reduced to radioactive dust, we had successfully eliminated the potential of a Krogan army rebelling against the civilized world. What a success. Oh, and let me tell you, the view from my air-conditioned bedroom was something else.
All right, everybody, hang on!
I can't believe Caden didn't make it. How could we just leave him down there?
Who the hell is Caden? The news reached every corner of the galaxy, and the Council didn't take long to start complaining. They mentioned a weird word, specieside or something like that. I don't know, I was on a mission.
Commander, is this some kind of game? Are you calling in a report just so you can cut us off again?
You know it.
That never gets old, does it?
But our fight was far from over. The Normandy sensors caught Saren escaping to Ilos, home of the Protheans. Liara mentioned this planet might have the conduit, a one-of-a-kind mass relay that could be key to Saren's plans. We didn't know what was so special about this conduit, but if Saren wanted it, so did I. But things would quickly take a turn for the worse. The Council had enough of me hanging up on them and playing with their nuclear toys without their say-so. So they summoned us to the Citadel, the galaxy's main political and commercial hub. I tried to explain my reasons. I only used that nuke because it was the only one I had, I told them. But that just seemed to make them even angrier. The Council threw the book at us and impounded the SSV Normandy on the spot, leaving us stranded on the Citadel.
You bastard! You're selling us out!
I couldn't believe it. While those bureaucratic bozos ate each other over a single planet, Saren freely explored Ilos to doom every planet. Without our ship, we couldn't do anything. They didn't even let us get our clothes from the ship. I had to use the same underwear for 8 days straight. Man, that thing had developed its own ecosystem and everything. Nobody would do us a favor either. Let's not act like I hadn't punched my way up the ranks. I had more enemies in the Citadel than a rat during the plague. But then, just when it seemed like the universe had it out for us, a glimmer of violence emerged. The Normandy's former captain, General Anderson, decided to stick it to the Council and take matters into his own hands. Or head.
Sir, you can't...
He infiltrated their offices and deactivated the lock on the Normandy.
Get us out of here, Joker. Now!
From that moment, it was a race against time. The Normandy was the fastest ship anyone had ever built, but we were playing catch-up. Saren had a massive head start, and we needed to close that gap. After reaching Ilos, it became obvious that a Chinese megacorporation ran the place. The entire planet had been turned into a massive sweatshop. A sweat planet. Anyway, as we drove deeper into the facilities, we stumbled upon an ancient AI, a relic from the long-dead Protheans that had been modified to run the business. Luckily, after working 6 years in a sandpaper factory, I had mastered the Mandarin language, so I was able to understand it. This computer revealed the truth behind the conduit. Turns out it was a mass relay that could transport anyone directly to the Citadel, bypassing any security. This was massive since the Citadel controlled every mass relay in the galaxy. Saren planned to open the ones in dark space, a remote, uncharted side of the galaxy, where the Reapers waited to pounce. If he pulled that off, the Reapers could swarm the Citadel and infiltrate the galaxy from within, like a parasitic takeover. We would have no chance to react. But the bad news was just warming up. As we spoke, Saren's army, joined by that colossal beast Sovereign, had already punched through the conduit. The Citadel was under siege, and Saren was this close to seizing control of the relays. We had to stop him, no matter the cost. With no time to waste, we jumped into the Mako and rushed out of there. We knew, don't ask me how, that we had seconds left until the conduit closed, so I floored that hunk of junk vehicle to its limit. After crossing the conduit, we reached the Citadel. People screaming everywhere, fires spreading out of control, missiles flying above our heads. It was like France. As a last resort, they decided to close the Citadel's tentacles, or arms, whatever, to keep the attackers out. But man, they moved at the speed of a snail with a limp. Even a tectonic plate could have rushed in. On the front lines, a few civilians begged us for help, mentioning a missing baby or something. But frankly, unless that infant was packing heat and ready to join the shooting, I wasn't going to waste the little time I had. Saren was about to open the relays. As we closed in, the Citadel's gravity engines began to fail, forcing us to rely on our suits to avoid floating away into space. And where the hell is the cavalry? I groaned. I must have killed 1,000 Geth troopers making my way to the relay controls, and not a single Citadel soldier was shooting at anything. They scoffed when I suggested quadrupling the defense budget. Who's laughing now? I mean, I wasn't literally laughing. I was actually very disturbed by everything, but you get the point. This could have been avoided if every family packed an AK-47. Once we dealt with the droids in the way, we reached the relay controls just in time to stop Saren. Then for some reason he began a second bad guy monologue, exactly the same way as before. So I played my role and took cover behind a flimsy rail while he droned on about his motivations. He claimed we couldn't stop the Reapers, that they were impossible to beat in a straight fight. Thousands had tried. He said the only way to survive was to do what nobody had ever tried before. He wanted us to talk to the Reapers. To join them in peaceful coexistence, he proposed. Now, that's the biggest pile of nonsense I'd heard since the Earth Deniers, but I had enough of listening to the guy. It was time to end him once and for all. But Saren had picked up a couple of upgrades since we last saw. The man was faster, stronger, and most importantly, his stupidity seemed to have died with the nuke. He zipped around us on his stupid hoverboard, never dropping his gun for a macho mano a mano. All while dozens of Geth showered us in suppressing fire. It was hard. For the first time ever, it seemed like I'd slammed into a wall. No sneaky windows, no doors to bust open. Just an endless, bland beige blockade. I couldn't believe I had traveled dozens of planets, killed thousands, just to end like this. I even doomed multiple sentient species for this. But then, like the sun in the middle of a cruel winter, you wouldn't believe it. Out of her fanny pack, Tali pulled out a carton of tomato Kool-Aid. And man, it was the limited edition, straw included and everything. Oh boy. She tossed that bad boy my way. The moment I slurped that glorious nectar, I felt like I could take on a Krogan, fistfight a mountain. I felt like I brought a mattress to a pillow fight. Tali gave me a good slap and yelled, "We gotta clap them cheeks, Commander." Or at least, I think that's what she said. Anyway, my aim grew sharper, my sight grew keener. I wasn't about to let an army of sentient shrimps strong-arm the galaxy into group hugs and kumbaya sessions. Not on my watch. If I was going to school this reptilian fool, it was going to be a lesson in The more you push peace onto humanity, the harder we push back. And so Saren became history. I was able to shut the relays off and prevent the invasion, but we still had one Reaper causing a ruckus in our backyard, and the bastard was built tough.
This is our only chance. Take that monster down no matter what the cost.
And right there, in the middle of the battle, I was given a hard choice. Turns out the Council's ship was under heavy fire, and they needed support. We could sacrifice some of our ships to protect them, or we could abandon them and be left leaderless, devoid of guidance, free of politicians.
They closed the channel.
A war unfolded in the sky, a war to kill the monster. It was now everyone versus Sovereign. People died. Ships got destroyed. But we'd had enough of that crustacean. It was time to finish the bastard.
Its shields are down. Now's our chance.
Hit it with everything we got.
Hard on my flank. We're going in.
Where's the commander?
What about him? They asked. Another rat lost with the fires, or another Earthborn gone up in smoke? Saren might be gone, and the relays secure, but the Reapers, they were still coming. We had just delayed the inevitable. A single one of those shrimps nearly overpowered our entire military. What would an army do? Is this fight even winnable? The truth was, we didn't know. But I wasn't going to let the unknown stop me. The other races always doubted humanity, labeling us as violent and impulsive. But now, they'll have to listen. Violence might not be the answer to everything, but it sure as hell is the right question. And the answer to that is, hell yes.
That was a little extreme, wasn't it? Personally, I would have just thrown a rock.